Ready for a deep dive. Today, we're cracking open this excerpt on unmasking reality, reverse thinking for success. And get this, it was originally written in Chinese, so kind of cool. We're getting a glimpse into a whole different cultural perspective on success.
A fascinating lens to explore for sure. Like peeking into a different playbook for navigating the world, achieving your goals.
Yeah, and it dives right into this idea of reverse thinking. Basically flipping your assumptions, right? And looking for the hidden meaning behind actions and words. It's about understanding that sometimes, things aren't always what they seem on the surface.
Exactly. Don't judge a book by its cover, right? Reverse thinking encourages you to open the book, read between the lines, heck, maybe even check out the footnotes.
It's like Sherlock Holmes. He doesn't just see what's obvious. It's like he looks for the missing pieces, the clues that everyone else overlooks.
Perfect comparison. It's about cultivating that detective mindset, but in your own life. So, for example, say you're in a negotiation. Instead of focusing on what you want, reverse think it. Ask yourself, what does the other person really value? What are their motivations?
So it's like flipping the script. Instead of leading with your own agenda, you're trying to understand their perspective first.
Precisely. And that can give you a huge advantage, because when you understand what's truly driving the other person, you can tailor your approach, right? Create a win-win.
Okay, so reverse thinking, it's about seeing beyond the surface, questioning assumptions, and understanding hidden motivations. But how do we actually put this into practice? The text mentions that reverse thinking can help us become more discerning, especially when it comes to other people's actions. It gives this example of a colleague offering help, suggesting we consider their potential ulterior motives.
Right, because, sometimes help comes with strings attached. Now, this doesn't mean assuming everyone has bad intentions. It's about being aware that motivations can be complex.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like that time I agreed to help a friend move, only to realize they just needed free labor. No intention of actually helping me unpack.
We've all been there. And that's exactly why this concept of reverse thinking is so valuable. Recognizing those subtle discrepancies between someone's words and their actions. For example, if a coworker constantly praises your work, but then throws you under the bus in a meeting with your boss, could be a red flag.
Actions speak louder than words, right? But sometimes those actions are hidden in plain sight. So how do we get better at spotting those subtle cues, the ones that might reveal what's truly going on? It's like becoming a human lie detector. But instead of focusing on catching them in a lie, it's more like we're trying to uncover, their true motivations.
Exactly. And that, I think, leads us to another really intriguing aspect of this text. It suggests that by understanding these principles, like reverse thinking, it can actually help anyone become part of that elusive 1%. The ones who achieve genuine success.
Oh, you mean those people who just seem to have it all figured out? I'm all ears.
Right. But here's what's interesting. The source doesn't define success, solely in terms of wealth or status. It actually takes this much broader approach.
So it's not just about the fancy car and corner office. Tell me more.
It's about, personal growth, fulfillment, and I think most importantly, understanding what your own unique purpose is. And it lays out several key ideas, almost like principles, for actually achieving this, more holistic kind of success.
All right, well, let's unpack these principles. What's the first one?
So it all starts with, self-awareness. The text really emphasizes knowing your strengths. And, this is important, also knowing your weaknesses.
So it's about having a clear understanding of what you're good at and also where you might need some help.
Exactly. It's about recognizing your strengths so you can leverage those, but also acknowledging your weaknesses so you can either work on those or find ways to delegate tasks.
Right.
Play to someone else's strengths.
Okay, so it's about knowing your lane and staying in it, but also knowing when to ask for directions, if you get a little lost.
I like that analogy. Now, the next principle is all about emotional control. And the text really, it emphasizes this as being absolutely crucial, especially when things get tough.
So staying cool under pressure, not letting your emotions get the best of you.
You got it. Because when we can manage our emotions effectively, we actually make better decisions.
Right.
We communicate more effectively. And we can navigate all those inevitable challenges, but with more grace, with more composure. Think of it like this. Would you rather make a major decision when you're calm and collected? Or, say, when you're feeling angry and flustered?
Yeah, that's an easy one. Calm and collected. Every time. Okay, so we've got self-awareness, emotional control. What's next on this list of principles for success?
So this next one, it might be my favorite. It's the principle of independent thinking. The source really hammers home the importance of not just going along with the crowd, but instead forming your own opinions, trusting your own judgment.
It's about like thinking for yourself, not letting others do the thinking for you, right?
Exactly. It's about questioning assumptions, even if they're widely accepted. It's about looking at the world, through your own lens, coming to your own conclusions. Now, get ready for this next one, because it's a bit of a mind bender. The text kind of dives into this whole idea of the power of the subconscious mind, claiming that a whopping 95% of our thoughts are actually subconscious.
Wait, 95%. So you're saying that most of our thinking is happening like below the surface without us even realizing it. That's kind of freaky when you think about it.
It is a bit mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
And the source suggests that these hidden subconscious thoughts, they have a huge impact on our actions, on our decisions.
So if most of our thoughts are happening on autopilot, how can we make sure they're actually steering us in the right direction?
That is the million-dollar question. And while there are no easy answers, the text suggests that simply becoming aware of our subconscious patterns, that's a powerful first step. It's about shining a light on those hidden thought patterns and asking ourselves, are these thoughts actually serving me?
It's like hitting the pause button on autopilot, right? And kind of taking control of the controls ourselves.
Exactly. And that leads us perfectly into the final principle, finding your true self and your life's mission.
So it's not just about achieving like any kind of success. It's about aligning your actions with, who you truly are.
You got it. It's about connecting with your authentic self, your values, your passions, and then living a life that reflects those core parts of yourself. It's about finding a path that feels, deeply meaningful and fulfilling to you, not just following some path that society says you should follow.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Self-awareness, emotional control, independent thinking, like tapping into the power of the subconscious. It's like we're building like a toolkit for success, but not just any kind of success.
Right.
Like the kind that feels, aligned with who we are at our core.
And I think that's what makes this text, so insightful. It's not just about climbing that ladder. It's about building your own ladder, one that's, custom designed to help you reach your definition of success.
I like that, building your own ladder. But let's face it, even with the best toolkit, navigating the real world, kind of tricky. And this text, it doesn't shy away from that. It gets into some pretty, strategic, even slightly controversial territory.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It dives right into this whole importance of understanding social dynamics, even like what it calls leveraging human weaknesses.
Okay, that sounds, a little Machiavellian at first glance.
It does sound a bit intense, but I think if you dig a little deeper, it's not really about manipulation. It's about understanding what makes people tick, what motivates them, right? What drives their decisions.
So it's more about being insightful than manipulative?
Exactly. It's about recognizing that, everyone, including ourselves, has their own needs, their own desires. And that knowledge can be incredibly powerful, especially when it comes to navigating relationships, negotiations, even just, everyday interactions.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this ties back into that whole reverse thinking concept.
Right.
Instead of just reacting to people's behavior, we're trying to understand the why.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the text introduces this really fascinating idea. Unspoken rules. Have you ever heard that phrase before?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like those unwritten guidelines, right? That dictate how things really work. Like, don't talk about politics at a dinner party. Always bring a gift for the host.
Exactly. Those unspoken rules, they exist in every culture, in every industry, heck, even in every family, right? They're those unwritten codes of conduct that influence how they behave, how they interact.
And so the text is suggesting that understanding these unspoken rules, even like mastering them, it's crucial for success.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because when you understand the rules of the game, you can play it more strategically. You can, anticipate moves, you can make more informed decisions. Heck, you can even, bend the rules a little bit in your favor when necessary.
It's like learning to speak a secret language.
Yes.
Once you understand it, it's like you unlock this whole new level of understanding, influence.
Exactly. And I think ultimately that brings us to the heart of what this text is all about. It's not just about, achieving that external success. It's about personal growth. It's about self-discovery. It's about finding fulfillment by aligning your actions with your authentic self. It's about becoming, the best version of yourself, not for the sake of external validation or anything, but for the inherent joy and satisfaction that comes from living a life true to who you are.
So it's not about chasing someone else's definition of success.
Right.
It's about defining what success means for you. and then using all the tools in your toolkit, including reverse thinking, to create a life that just, I don't know, it feels meaningful, feels fulfilling.
Beautifully said. It's about recognizing that true happiness, it stems from discovering our, authentic selves, and then living in alignment with our values, our passions.
Which is a pretty great note to end on, don't you think?
I completely agree. It leaves us all with something to kind of, reflect on. What does it truly mean to be, authentic? And how can we all start living in a way that feels, more aligned with who we are at our core?
Those are definitely some questions worth exploring. And that's what we do here on The Deep Dive. We take these, complex, thought-provoking ideas and, well, we unpack them together. Thanks for joining us on this journey into this world of reverse thinking and, its potential for success. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.